Don't blink, it's your boy Ink. Welcome to our show. So doing well on this early morning, 8 April 2025. It is a beautiful day outside. We are uploading video here, filming here, right? Playing the tower here, and some wonderful coffee. Coffee, 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 and coffee. Today's video was actually a special one. This is a video that I've already done in the past. This is a video that I possibly did a couple of times. You see me on the computer a little bit because we are uploading video. I hope you don't mind. You don't mind? Cool, me neither. So it's a video that we did before. But at the same time, it's a really cool thing because my opinion about that change. And the opinion changing it's almost as if you were doing a part two, even though the two videos don't have anything in common, right? So the video is relationship between content creator, right? We did a video about that. The last time we did a video, it was a video where I was complaining about people trying to use you and you didn't know who was there for you and who wasn't there for you, right? And the mentality completely changed in a way of but I think the reason is also is almost or as important as the change, right? So before that, right, I'm gonna tell you why we're making this video. So, for example, last week we had a person coming into our life twice, right? And we had this. Now I'm not gonna name her, right? Because she's a lot younger, and I don't think she realized what she's doing. I think she's realizing what she's doing. I think she knows what she's doing, but she doesn't know how bad it is. So I had this person last night, right? And this person came in last night. Sorry, another person last night. That's why we're doing this video today. And this person came in and she was like, she wanted to do battles. And I was like, I don't do battles. And then she gave me a pouty face, like, please. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm sorry, but I don't do battles. There's a billion other people that do battle, right? And then she's attractive. So she started showing off, knowing that I had people in the chat, right? Now, I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but I knew she was showing off because, so there's this really weird thing, which is really normal of having, and I'm going to sound misogynistic, and I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from. It's not a place of hatred, but it's a place of, in a case where I'm listening to both a woman and a man, there's a man and a woman. So okay, that's a great answer. That's a great answer. There's two people that are. So lately we've been working on the computer a lot. We've been doing on recap a lot, right? And that takes a lot of time. So we've been watching a lot of YouTube, right? And I've been watching 90 Day Fiance recaps, right? And there's two content creators that I really enjoy, which is My Thoughts and Your Wet Socks. And now these two are complete polar opposites, right? My Thoughts is a bit softer. My Thoughts is a bit more funny, right? And Your Wet Socks is a bit more of a reaction guy. He's gonna push you. He's gonna push you to have a reaction, but also to think about what is going on. And I love that. But at the same time, I am hyper aware or whatever you want to call it. I don't care, right? But I am aware that there's time where he's gonna take for the boys and My Thoughts to take for the girls, right? In both cases, with My Thoughts, it feels like a lot of time, and it sucks. It sucks so badly because I really liked her. I really like My Thoughts, but it feels like she is always for the woman, right? She's always for the woman because, and I cannot help but think that maybe she met a guy and he hurt her feelings and that's why she's like that. But then you got My Wet Socks, right? Your Wet Socks, but at the same time, he's a bit too much for the guys. I'll call people like she's a cheater. She came here for a green card. And I don't necessarily agree with what he's saying, right? So I have these two completely different people with completely different opinion, and I know that somehow the truth lies in the middle, right? So even then, I'm gonna be listening to Your Wet Socks because I'm like, okay, well, this dude, we're the same age, we have the same cultural reference. He likes anime, right? So I do like Your Wet Socks, right? Now, with what I was saying about last week, I think she's aware that a lot of the people that are in my chat are men. Now, weirdly speaking, we have a lot more women. Lately, we've been having a lot more women, which is great. I fucking love that. But I've been having a lot of men, and it's talk about hockey, about sports, about cars. It's quote unquote your typical, your cliche boys talk, right? And she starts showing off, right? And she knows she's attractive, and she wasn't showing off for me. And then the idea came to me: you're showing off to the people in my chat. That way, they're simping for you. And I could have been mad at her, but I knew what she was doing, and of course she's younger. But at the same time, like, that was a shitty move, you know. Now, if people people that come to my life, I don't own them. I do not own them. You want to check somebody else's life? Go ahead. I don't care. Okay? As long as you're happy, don't care, right? At the same time, I think it's the action behind it. I think it's the action behind it, because you're like, dude, I am nice to you, you know? And this particular person, I have this almost negative bias towards, because we didn't know each other a lot. And then she was in need because she was having some problem, emotional problem, right? And we started calling each other every day, right? And she was super kind. She used things like "I love you" were said, of course, because I'm a sensitive guy, right? And then poof, disappear, right? And then she unfollowed me. The reason as to why, I don't know. The reason as to why, I don't care. You unfollow me, right? And that's kind of you know. So at the same time, it's bad. But then she started talking to me again, and she's like, "Oh, you want to battle?" And I'm like, "You're coming to me because you need something, right?" And I could be mad, but then it's a dog eat dog world. It's the same viewer at the same time watching one live or the other, right? If they're watching my life, they're not watching hers, and if they're watching her life, they're not watching mine. I think it's a question of also of confidence. Am I interesting? Why am I not having people? And I think the first thing that you're thinking, right? And it's also funny because we're deep diving a lot into the content that we're watching, right? So we're watching a lot of content, we're watching a lot of YouTube, and another show that we're watching is Gordon Ramsay, Kitchen Nightmare. It's all on YouTube, right? We're watching that, right? And a lot of people, they said, why is my restaurant not working? Now, some of these are really bad. They have bad practice, they have bad staff, bad management, the kitchen is dirty, the fridge is dirty, but in some cases, they're just better out there. Like, I watched an episode yesterday, and the food was delicious. However, the food was taking, I think it was 75 minutes, and there was a store next to it that was doing the same thing in 10 to 15 minutes. Now, admittedly, the same thing wasn't as good, but people don't care about this little bit of quality for 5-6 times the time, right? And in this case, the problem wasn't the food. It was that there was a lot of competition, right? So I think it's a question of confidence. I think the first thing that you're thinking when you don't have anybody in your live or in your chat or nobody watching your video is my content shitty? Am I doing something wrong, right? This is a true story. We're really opening ourselves up. We're really an open book, right? There was an instance, and we aren't talking about like 2 weeks ago. Oh well, yeah, actually 2 weeks ago. And we're talking about 2 weeks ago. Not talking about a month ago. And we were starting to do the workout, right? And the workout, I had a lot of people. We were doing super well. So like, you know what? I didn't eat yet. Let's go eat, and then let's do a TikTok live because I don't have to talk about Thursday where I don't have a lot of creative juice. Today we have a little bit too much. So we made it live, and nobody showed up. And I swear to God, for the 20 minutes that we're doing it, I was fucking sweating. I was nervous. What is going on? Have I done something wrong, right? And I was thinking about how is that possible, right? But then there's a huge difference. When we did the workout stream, it was 2 p.m. And when we ate, it was 9 p.m. At 9 p.m., there's a lot more people doing live than at 2 p.m., right? So the market got oversaturated. It's a question of habits also, right? I don't think, I think, I think there's a level where, as a content creator, you come in, and there's a level as to which where people don't really care what you're doing because they care about you, right? And that's a beautiful thing. But it's always the same, for example, cycle, right? So you have this favorite content creator, and you're always watching them because you love them, right? You're always watching them because you love it. Right now, this morning we were watching Trader Trash Tammy mukbang, and she's amazing. I love her, but the only reason I know about her is because of Nicolo Avocado. That's the only reason, right? That's the only reason. And although I love the content, we're watching her because we watch Nicolo Avocado so often that we watch all of his videos, you know? So it's not because she's not good, it's because I have a preference. I have a preference, right? So it is insane. So she came in and she did that. And instead of getting mad, I was like, okay, well, that was a shitty thing, right? Now, ultimately speaking, am I going to be vengeful? Am I going to have a vendetta and going to go to war? No. But I'm going to be mindful of that. I'm going to be reminding myself of that, right? And I feel like we matured as how we handle those things, right? But at the same time, this maturity comes at a cost. And this cost is actually a big one. It's more reserved. It's you're keeping shit in a bit better. You know, I've always had a problem with emotion. I'm a transparent guy. When I'm not doing good, you're gonna know. When I'm doing great, you're gonna know, right? But when I'm not doing good, I'm an asshole, right? Not an asshole in the sense of I'll attack people, I'll swear, but in the sense of I don't care about what you're thinking, I'm dealing with my shit. And that's not cool. So yesterday, because we talked about yesterday, it's that I had a guy come into life, right? And this person is, again, I don't think, I understand why he's doing the thing that he's doing, but that's not cool. So, and it seems like I'm pinpointing some things, but you gotta understand why we're talking about that. We understand why I'm pointing out those people in particular, right? So this guy, I was making a lot of live last year, and he begged me to do battles. I was like, no, I don't do battles. I do not do battles. I don't care about money. And then he was coming every day, and I was like, oh fuck, okay, let's go. Back at the time, I had one viewer, and this guy was giving a lot. He was giving a lot of gifts, right? So then, what ended up happening was, I had one person partake. This guy went and followed the person that was gifting to me, and DM'd them. Now, technically speaking, I don't mind, because this person came to me and said, yo, this guy's DMing me, please be careful. He's not who you think he is. I understood why he did it. That was still a shitty thing to do, right? You understand why he did it? He did it because, again, this is his livelihood, of course. But then I was like, okay, well, we're done. I'm not gonna make a video with you. And that was last year. So we blocked him, and I was like, fuck you, dude, right? But then I felt bad. I was like, you know what? I don't know the situation. Maybe he's broke. Maybe he has some debt. Maybe he's desperate, right? I understood where he was coming from. So we unblocked him, right? And then yesterday he came in. And he was a bit down, right? He was a bit down. And I remember him because, I was like, dude, that guy. I unblocked him. And I wasn't mad at him anymore. I forgave him. But there's still this thought in my head of, you're a shitty person, you know? And he said he came in and he was depressed. And he was feeling some type of way. And I felt bad for him. Like, you know what? Okay, I got you, right? And now what I start doing lately is, when I see people saying for 5 or 10 or plus minutes of my lives, I send them a heart, which is a thank you, like a little thank you to say, hey, thank you for being part of the live. Thank you for joining today. You were awesome. I fucking appreciate that, right? And his answer was 3 emojis. Now you're like, okay, well, Ink, what's the problem there? There were 3 of his own emojis. So I told him question mark. And the guy said, these are my emoji if you're interested. And I was like, the only reason you came to my life was to ask something in return. And I was like, this is super shitty, right? But again, I think there's a lot of content creator like that. There's a lot of content creator that don't have. It's a question of, you cannot blame them. There's a question of morals. We all have different morals, different values, right? Something that is okay for me to do will not be okay for you to do. And something that you do will not be okay with me, right? So how do we deal with the situation? Why am I talking about these two cases in particular? Because in the last month, I'm talking about March, those are the two only instances where I had to deal with somebody doing that to me, or treating me wrong, or doing something that's a bit sus, And it's shitty, but in a month you only had two people, right? That's amazing. And then the craziest thing is, we came in, and these guys I'm gonna shout out. We came in with Sir Winsalot, who was part of the content. He was a guest. We came in, we did some dual stream. It was nice because this guy is a guy that I like. He's actually super nice. But what I like the most about Sir Winsalot is there's this kind of fucked up sense of, oh, you comment on my videos, I'll comment on yours. You follow me, I'll follow back. You like my videos, I'll like yours back. So it's a constant give and give and give and give and give and give and give. And it's not a system where you grow. It's a system where you cheat the system. But it's a system where you grow. Your growth of your positive engagement isn't real. It's fabricated, right? And I don't believe in that because, again, it creates lazy content creator. I don't know what I have to put. I'm gonna take a picture of this wall, right? It's a beautiful wall. Don't get me wrong. It's a beautiful wall. I'm gonna get 25 likes, right? Now, this is a content creator, and they're gonna say, oh, like your video, you like mine, okay? It's a fucking wall. It's a fucking wall. Doesn't matter how nice it is, it's a fucking wall. By having these likes, you're not learning that maybe, you know what? Maybe I should be filming this. I'm filming this. Maybe, you know what? Maybe I should be filming this instead. Right? Maybe. Just maybe. Right? And that's how you grow. With Sir Winsalot is one of the only, if not the only content creator that I never felt that way. Now, the importance of Sir Winsalot in this whole story, because I known Kyle for 4 years. And he never done anything to me. There's not a single thing that he did to me that was like, ugh, kind of shitty, right? And I appreciate that because at the same time, like, it's not a coupled instance of you being nice. It's constantly being nice. And I don't get the feeling that there's pressure here. So instead of being, oh, we have to help each other, is we're coexisting. I love my neighbors. They're super nice. Do my life depend on them? No. Do their life depend on me? Hopefully not. But at the same time, it's the same thing. Yesterday, I went with Skylar, which is another content creator, Canadian. I'm gonna try to. I wish I remembered. I don't remember the complete name. Fuck. Skylar, I'm sorry, Skylar. I love you. Yesterday I came in her live, and I didn't see her for a while. So I was like, holy shit, it's good to see you. And she got me. She put me up, and she was like, hey, how are you? And we talk. And I was in her live for a couple minutes, and people were gifting me. And she was like, yo, there wasn't a talk of, well, people gifted you thanks to me. You should be saying thank you. Now, understandably, there's a 30% that goes to her, because that's a TikTok rule. But it was just like, this was such a cool relationship, because my content doesn't rely on you. Your content doesn't rely on me. It's just cohabitation, right? And I've come to expect that. I've come to appreciate that. How many content creators that you guys have met? And there's some shitty content creator, right? But having this relationship, and those are people, and you see, it's we're seeing this a lot with people doing collabs, right? But I think there has been always it's hard to doing collabs, because there's always been, it's a relationship, right? There's never a relationship where it's truly 50-50. You can be close to 50-50, you can be 48-52, but it's never 50-50. So there's always somebody in the two content creator, right? That is a bigger content creator, right? And ultimately speaking, it's normal. Ultimately speaking, you're glad to help out smaller content creator. But ultimately speaking, there's only so much you can give, right? So much you can give. Like something that's kind of bad happened like 3 weeks ago. That was really bad. But again, it's not a big deal, but it was a shitty thing to do. somebody came in and said, "Hey, my mother's not doing well." And we were talking and we were talking and we're talking, right? And I'm like, "Are you at the hospital with her?" And he was like, "I'm at the hospital with her." So I said, show her the phone. I said, "Hey, hi, how are you? Please feel better." I just said hi, right? And then somebody said, "Can you say hi to somebody else?" And I felt bad because I said hi to the mom because she was sick. So I said hi to the other person. And there's a third person that came in and said, "Can you say hi to my dog? Can you say roof roof to my dog?" And I was like, "You fucking asshole." Because of that, those two people that had good intention, those two people that just wanted something kind done to them, are looking like asshole because you took advantage of the kindness, right? But are you blaming the guy who's an asshole? Are you blaming the two people for the one person that's an asshole? No. They just coexist, right? They just cohabit. So it's all a question of how much you're willing to give. And I feel like this is the relationship between content creator. This is the relationship. How much are you willing to give? This idea of I support you. I'm gonna be transparent. I've already told this story. So when I started streaming, right? Now, there's numbers. I listened to Charlie Moist Critical. He was talking about how more than 80% of content creators on Twitch are streaming to less than 5. Now, please remember that we've been doing this for 4 years. Okay, well, 4 years and holy shit. Wait a second. Okay, we're the 9th April 2025. We're reaching a 4 years next month, and exactly 30 days, 31 days. I don't know. How crazy is that? Exactly 4 years. That's crazy. So I was on Twitch. Somebody came in, right? And I was playing Kingdom Hearts. And it was my first person. And I want to tell you the truth. It was my first person in a month or more than a month. So he came in and said, "Hey, you're good, but you don't have viewers. Why?" And I was like, "I don't know." It's like I have this Instagram group, right? And I got this Instagram group. And I want you to join it because we're gonna help each other out. So I'm like, okay, that's a great idea. Let's be part of a team, right? And then I did that for 4 months, 5 months. I was reaching crazy numbers. I had 26 viewers. I had a lot of freaking viewers, right? But there was always this in my chat. There was always this case of, it's really bad, right? It's really bad because. Even I was talking about the two people before, right? They were self-promoting in my chat. They were saying, "Hey, watch this. I'll follow you, follow me back." And people didn't really care about the stream. It was just something they had to do. It was just something for chilling. It was just something for them for networking, right? And that sucked. It didn't suck because it was not the right thing to do. It sucked because you're out there not for... It's a question of when you're making content, when you're doing anything at all. Are you more looking for results, or are you more looking for having fun? In my case, it was having fun, right? So we had some really good numbers, and I was so desperate. I allowed people. It's a fucking shame. I allowed people to be shitty people, you know? The worst thing that happened to me, the worst thing I ever did as a content creator, I had this person in my chat. On Twitch, that was years ago though. It was years ago. It's still a shitty thing to do, but it was years ago. I had a viewer. I'm not gonna name him, but he texted one of my female viewer, and he was inappropriate with her. And then she told me, "Hey, look what he did to me." And I felt bad for the guy because I'm like, he's single. He's telling me that he's depressed. I understand that he's depressed. I don't want to tell people that he's depressed. But he came to me and said, "Hey, I'm depressed. What do I do? I feel lonely." So I have this information. I'm like, okay, well, he thought that you were single. He probably find you attractive. He's just clumsy. He doesn't know how to express himself well. It comes off as creepy, but I came out as creepy multiple times. I've been a weird guy. I've been a really weird guy. So I kind of understood him, right? So I knew that this happened. Suddenly this person left the stream. She left, and I was like, okay, well, fuck. I understand why she left, but still. And then 3 months later, I had this other person came to me, and she was like, "Hey, the same guy, he's sending me nudes." I'm like, "What the fuck you mean?" And she showed me the text. She didn't show me the nudes, thank God. But he sent her explicit text. And it was the same guy. And then I was like, holy fuck! I knew that was gonna happen because it happened once, and I could have stopped it. And my problem wasn't that he was sexual with those two people. Shit happened, you know. My problem is how many people was he sexual to and didn't reach out to me and say, hey, look at this guy, what he's doing. You know? And I was so desperate for views that I was like, okay, no problem, right? That's the worst thing to do. Why are we talking about that? Because as a content creator, you should have a circle of content creators that are uplifting you. Right? As weird as it is, the first kind of chemistry that I saw was OTQ with Miskif, Valkyrie, Emiru. You know, the second one that I saw was the Bote's sister, Andrea and Alex. There was Diana, there was the Gotham Chess, there was Magnus Carlsen, Ikaru, and they just were having good times, you know? They were uplifting each other, and I was like, okay, well, this is something. And then just know that I was watching Nick for years, okay, because Avocado. And he always did the same fucking collabs. And I was like, why are you always doing the same collab? But then you realize, you understand why. Because he trusts those people. Those people are good people, you know? It's a crazy thing to think about, but it is as weird as it is the normalcy. So if you're a new content creator, be careful to who you surround yourself with. If you're an old one, congrats, I guess. And that's it for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Love ya. Peace.